right. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian and I am the horror show host. And today, me and a special guest will be talking about the movie Crawl, the 2019 alligator movie that was actually pretty good. But say hello to You and Your Horror Movies, Matt from You and Your Horror
Hello.
Movie.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. I've actually wanted to do a video with you for a while because we have a lot of similar tastes in movies. Um, I'm actually surprised we never talked until like recently.
I know.
It's been great.
Life is it's very busy and all that fun crap.
Yeah, I had school, work. It's life. So yeah, I'll go over the plot for Crawl. I have the Blu-ray right here. Uh, so the plot is basically about a girl who goes to go check on her father during a hurricane, and she eventually finds him under the basement. Now, if you haven't seen this movie or the trailers, right now will be a spoiler, but there are alligators in the basement as well as outside the house. There's a whole swarm of alligators. So, her and her father are trying to escape the basement, the house, the hurricane, everything in general, and it's just a thrill to watch. So, what are your thoughts on Crawl?
Now I saw this movie in the theater because I was very interested on it and I loved it. Definitely had to buy it when it came out on Blu-ray because come on, it's a Killer Croc flick, and I'm a big fan of the director
Hmm.
who did this film. And the whole premise of being trapped in a house during a hurricane with hungry alligators, it's a freaking cool idea. Especially it takes place in Florida. Perfect setting, perfect thing that's happening with this. And the gators look great. The storyline is actually pretty good. If you think about it, you're first going, really? Gators in a house? How the hell are you going to do that? But when the flooding starts to occur and all of a sudden they're neck deep in water and they can't see what's below them, it's pretty fucking scary.
Yeah.
I loved it.
um, I saw this in theaters too. And I, like you, I was interested because of the premise and the director. The director Alexander Aja, or however you say it, is also the director of Piranha 3D, The Hills of Ice remake, the first remake, and High Tension, a whole bunch of great movies. And I was really interested in seeing how he would handle this, especially because it's rated R, so that's really cool. Um, the Gators do look really good for like 99% of the movie. I think there's at least one part, which actually I made the thumbnail. I think the gator doesn't look as good as it does throughout the rest of the movie, in that one shot. But otherwise, the effects look great. Pretty much there, especially because it's only cost like what $17 million to make. Uh,
Yeah.
it was really cheap. Not like Sci-Fi Channel level cheap, but like theatrical experience kind of cheap. So, what did you think of the characters?
I like the girl, the main character. The whole synapse of her, she's estranged from her father, but she lives kind of close by. Um, Realizes, let me go get my dad during the storm because I know I really like him a lot. He's my dad and everything. He's going through some hard times. But you don't get much with the rest of the family. You just know that they're kind of separated. The other sister's like, oh, screw it off. Dad's probably drunk somewhere, doesn't care. But she shows that she cares. And she's pretty much going out of her way to, warn her father of this impending doom of a hurricane coming through. And that, we got to get the fuck out of Florida. The father himself was pretty cool. The Very stubborn, very, he's in his own way. That it kind of leads to like what he did to cause issues. Like he was very gun ho for his one daughter to be the best because she's a swimmer. She's a swimmer at Florida State Gators on the swim team, and kept pushing her. You got to swim faster. You got to push faster. So he's kind of like that hard, demanding dad that wanted the best for his daughter. And of course, things got in the way and kind of separated from the family. So that whole concept was really neat. I like that.
Yeah, I like the characters too, especially the father, because they both kind of have their arcs throughout this movie. They understand why each of them thought the way they did about the whole situation with the family and everything. Um, I think that the characters really hold the movie together, along with the Gators, of course. Even though the Gators are a real threat, they're not the main focal point. It's the characters. It's a character-driven story, but at the same time, the Gators are awesome to watch eat people, and it's not just like, oh well, it's only two people in a house. No, there's people outside too, so plenty of munch time. uh, was there anything you didn't
Yeah,
like about?
I was very happy with the
Oh,
body count
sorry.
in this
Go
film.
ahead. Yeah,
I was very happy with the body count in this film. I was hoping not just one person gets killed, but they gave us a good body count, which is definitely needed, especially for a Killer Croc film.
yeah. Most definitely, because you don't want to have like film. I'm not saying like that the film I'm gonna use as an example is bad, but like 47 meters down was a great film, but the body count, I feel like if they got back up to the boat, some people should have gotten Monster or something, and then they kind of made up for it in the sequel, uh, which was a smart move. So this one, it like got it right from the get go. So I think Alexander Aja knew the genre well enough and knew what he was doing to really make it a fun film. But was there anything you didn't like about it?
The ending, I was hoping for something more twisted from the
Mhm.
director. I know what he does, and it kind of felt a little left. I was expecting something fucked up, but we
Yeah,
didn't get it. But still, it was still a good ending. I wanted something different,
yeah. He
don't
actually
leave you a punch in the soul. But we didn't get that.
he originally was going to have something different from what I've seen on in interviews. Originally, they were supposed to be in the crate and it being lifted up, and then the alligators jump up and grab and pull him down.
Hmm. I was
Um,
hoping for that. Or I
yeah.
was hoping for her to, like he gets up and he looks down and grabs her by the hand. When he
Mhm.
pulls her up, it's just her arm hanging. I'm like, oh,
Oh
that would be
yeah,
fucking.
yeah. There's
But
also
unfortunately, we didn't get that.
as opposed to a alternate ending, there's also an alternate opening which is on the Blu-ray. It's all hand drawn because it's like sketches of. It's kind of explains where the alligators came from. Where there's this family. Uh, they're on the alligator farm, and
Yeah, she drives by the alligator farm. You see it.
yeah. You see it in the movie, but it's only hinted at. And if you're not paying attention, you won't catch it. But this alternate opening has people who run the alligator farm, and they all get killed by the gators because the water comes in too fast. The mother, daughter, and children get mauled by the gators. I thought that would have been a perfect way to open the movie. And last, it's only a alternate opening that's drawn. It's not really any special effects or anything. One thing I didn't like was that Cassie Squarebow constantly kept on getting bit by the gators, and yet she was still able to run around. I know it's like a nitpicky thing, but you would be in a lot more pain when you're jumping around like that in a house that's already got dirty water and it's going to infect the wound, of course. I like how they explain that she's an Olympic swimmer, therefore she can swim really fast. But there are some scenes where like there's no human in that situation and that kind of injuries. Who has that kind of injuries swimming fast enough to get away from gators that are charging after them?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I was on the swim team in college, and I know how that goes with the whole trying to swim. You're in the gators environment. They're gonna
mhm.
be a lot faster than you. It doesn't matter how fast you can be.
Yeah, especially because she's wounded.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, I agree with you about the ending too. It shouldn't have ended up so abruptly. Like maybe they didn't have to die, but maybe something else twisted happens, or maybe one of them died. Uh, Especially yeah,
The
like you said,
helicopter crashes.
yeah, it always has to crash. So we'll get to the nitty gritty now. What do you think of the gore and of the effects?
Some of the effects were pretty cool. The gore could have been a lot more.
Hmm.
A lot of stuff was just happening in the water. You see like the blood bubbling. That's about it. I kind of wanted to see some more of like people getting ripped apart. My favorite though, I freaking laughed my ass off in the theater
I know which part you're gonna
when
say too.
the cop, the cop in the outside,
Yeah,
when he's outside by the
when he
raft.
when he sees it on the swing.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
all of a sudden he just gets ripped apart. I freaking lost it. That was great. I wanted more of that.
yeah,
With the three people robbing the ATM, it kind of just seemed kind of quick, where
yeah.
they were pulled under, but still, you got what you got. I know they probably had a budget they had to work with. They probably couldn't put a lot of gore into it. Put some bubbles in, throw some fake blood in the water, let it bubble. There you go. It worked for like the old Jaws movies. It worked for a lot of the other creature features type out there.
Like
But with
Grizzly,
this
yeah,
type, we could have shot a lot more different kind of gore effects. Especially when the one guy gets his arm bit off. That
yeah,
seemed just kind of fake to me a little bit,
yep,
but still worked. I was hoping for more gore. The special effects, we know, you definitely could tell it's CGI'd. I don't think they use a lot of practical on this flick,
yeah. I don't
but
think so.
yeah. So, what about your thoughts?
The gore, I think it was pretty good. Like you said, like you mentioned, all the greatest gory bits with the guy getting like torn to pieces, and the arm getting ripped off. And I do wish there was more. Especially with the first three kills, like the ones who are robbing the store, you really want to make an impact on the audience, and all you get was chomp chomp, blood in the water. That was about it. But I think the execution was pretty good too for the kills. It was, even though it was kind of light on the gore, the fact that these three robbers are just trying to steal an ATM machine from a convenience store. It's like, wait, what? Uh, that makes it,
It shows what people will do during these type of events.
yeah.
These people going out robbing shit left and right. They're gonna grab what they can grab. So
Which it's
they
realistic
would do.
too, because people do that kind of stuff. So the effects were, like I said, that for like 95, 99% of it were actually pretty good given the budget. I was expecting some kind of mediocre shots, like again, 47 meters down on Caged had some pretty mediocre sharks, especially for a theatrical movie. But back to Crawl, the hurricane, the weather, the water, all looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised by that. I thought some of them might look a little fake during the movie.
I did like the basement scenes when the father was trapped in the basement, and when she was coming down there, it was very dark, very dreary. Uh, the whole scene too, where the one cop is leaning over the door, screaming, looking for, kind of like he has a love interest with her. They must have dated or something.
Oh,
That scene,
it was him and her sister.
yeah, that's
They
right.
yeah.
And with the whole that scene there, you could definitely tell it's kind of fake, but it was still kind of cool that they added that scene to it, where all of a sudden I know where this gator jumped, grabbed, and just pulled him right back down.
Yeah, that looked pretty okay, but also gators and crocodiles can jump a pretty high. I'm not sure if they can jump
Oh yeah,
that high, but because if they did, then why didn't they get the dog the whole time he was standing over it? There's little things like that, nitpicky things. The whole film as a whole is actually pretty good. Uh, and what do you think of the music in the movie? Like, I really liked that. It had a lot of horns, like kind of a creepy, unsettling
yeah.
music.
Kind of
And
reminded me a little bit of Worlds with the horns,
yeah,
but that was their indication of a hurricane. This is their alarm system that they have, so it kind of gave you that impending doom of you better run. Here comes the storm because they got to get everybody aware of what's going on. And the rest of the sound was pretty cool. What they did, especially if you saw this in the theater, it was
yeah.
loud. And you could definitely hear shit going on. It was great.
I also liked like what were one what's one. Let's try to pick our favorite most intense scene. I think mine's probably the one that made me laugh in the theater. Yours was the one where the guy got torn apart, and mine was when the eye of the storm came over them while they're trying to get to the other side of the parking lot. I was like, oh, of all the things that could have happened, um, and things were just getting worse for them.
What that also too when they were walking in the street with the water up to their waist and the gators were all swimming near them,
Hmm.
they would have caused some kind of wave or some kind of ripple where the gators
Yeah,
would know what it is and go after them. The whole standing still thing, nah, that would not have worked. They
no,
would go right after that spot and go for sure. But it did give you that sense of eeriness and a little bit of like a thrill. Like, ooh, are they going to make it across? Are they going to get to what they need to get to? So it kind of gave you that kind of thrill ride a little bit.
hmm
But a normal day, that thing would just rip you apart. They're like, now you're in the water. Boof, done.
Even if they're, because when they go underwater, they have these lids that go over their eyes. But
Mhm.
if any of them were above the water, which I don't think any of them were during that scene, they would have seen them. It's not like they're blind, which was pretty funny. But they also, there were some scenes where the nictating, what's it called, nictating lens, I think, went over their eyes and actually showed it before they went under the water. That was
Mhm.
pretty cool. Um, Also, I think you, like you said, the music really was symbolic of like the alarm system kind of too. Like the alarm actually went off during the movie. Like after they get to the through the eye of the storm to the boat they want to get to, the freaking dam breaks or whatever it is. So I forgot what they called it, but it was like they just can't catch a break. That's what I loved about the
Oh yeah.
movie, because you have like a good 15, 20 minutes of build up, and then the rest of the movie is just nonstop until the very end.
You gotta give that length too because you gotta keep those audiences in. If you end
Yeah,
it quick where they get on the boat and they drive away, what else do you got? You got nothing.
yeah,
So
an
you gotta
hour and a
give them
15.
like all bumps in the roads to throw at them.
You got an hour and 15-minute movie if you had that.
Yeah, they gotta somehow get them back in the house or get them into another house or get them into another sense of danger where your audience are like, "Ooh, now what do we got?" Versus, "Oh, they're in a boat now. Okay, they're driving away. It's only been a half hour. What do we do now?" There you go.
I think one of the
You
other
don't have
things
to.
I Yeah, I think one of the other things I was kind of annoyed with was is at the beginning when she was calling out for her dad. She must have called him like 30 times. It was, well, that's probably an exaggeration, but still, it was a lot. And if you don't know what this movie's about and you're going to go watch it in the theater, like back when it first came out, and you just had her go, "Dad, Dad, Dad," the whole time she's in the basement at the beginning, it could kind of tune you out. But then I think that also works because you're like so annoyed with this character for just saying the same thing over and over again that when the gator pops out, I think most people knew this was an alligator movie, but still, even when everyone's like probably annoyed with the character at this point, and she's trying to drag her dad, and then the gator pops out, this still is effective. Like
Yes.
I watched this with my dad a couple nights ago to prepare for this video, and the whole time he's like, the dog's gonna get it, the dog's gonna get it, he's gonna get it in this scene. The first scene he said that was when she was just crawling trying to get to the staircase. But it's a lot of fun to watch it. There's quite a few deep breath moments, like you go, ooh, bad move or anything like that. So it really does work. So what are your
It also gives
overall?
you the tone of there's not just one crocodile or alligator, there's multiple.
Yep.
Versus you all think, oh, there's one in the house, he gets it. But also here's another one, and then there's another one, and then they pan off outside. There's 5 or 6 around. You're like, holy shit! Now we got
Yeah,
more gators to worry about versus just the one.
because like when
That was
people went to go like people probably like me who went to go see this in theaters, I only expected one gator the whole movie. I didn't expect there to be a swarm.
yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
That gave you a sense of oh shit,
yeah.
especially especially when they're outside. You see them all swimming around. You're like, oh boy.
Yeah, when I was making the thumbnail for this video, I was watching the scene, seeing what clip I could take because I knew there was a scene I wanted, and I never noticed because when they're at the eye of the storm, there's a gator that goes past them, but before that, there's a gator that goes around them. I never noticed that. It's just cute, I mean, not cute, cool little thing that they did. Um, they didn't have to do. It just gives you that feeling that they are surrounded. Um, Speaking of the thumbnail, I just want to say turning that water red in the background was hard.
I bet.
Yeah, I used a polygram mask to cut around it. I'm like, oh, this is taking forever. I'll probably be done by 10:30. So what are your overall thoughts on Krull, and what would, if you give it a rating, what would it be?
My overall thoughts on this movie is definitely for me, it's definitely a must own. I loved it. Uh, Great, said got a good body count going. Great storyline. Pending danger all over the place. I probably give this one a 9 out of 10 for fun, rewatchability, just overall good popcorn type of flick too, especially if you're in the mood for like a killer gator flick. A lot of times they've all been kind of bad lately, especially some of the Sci-Fi Channel movies.
Yep.
To some that have been straight to DVD that have been really awful.
Oh
This
yeah.
one was just a good eye opener. It was fun.
Yeah, like Freshwater and The Hatching or Hatchling,
Oh,
whatever. Awful movies. Um,
yeah. I got rid
Crocod-
of my copy of Freshwater. I might have to get rid of my copy of Hatchling too. That was not good.
I heard that Crocodilius was bad too, and well, I didn't hear. I saw the trailer and it looked god awful.
I watched it on Amazon Prime. Oh, yeah, it's weird. It's a Killer Gator flick, but it's not a Killer Gator flick.
My overall thoughts on this film: it's a lot of fun. There are some flaws, of course. It's a movie. Every movie has flaws, except for maybe the ones people claim have no flaws. I think the main problem with this movie is that it is just a simple story, but it is executed very well. Uh, Despite the few flaws that are in the film, I struggle with I've been struggling with the rating ever since I saw it in the theater. But I think I would give it like a 3.5 or 4 out of 5. Because again, it's a simple story that's executed well, but beyond that, it's not a film that everyone's gonna love to go see. Like not everyone's gonna go, "Oh, this is like Jaws." No, it's not like Jaws. It's its own thing, but it's not to that tier. It's not like a masterpiece. So that's probably why I give it a little bit of a lower rating. Are there any other thoughts you wanted to say about Krull?
I hope they come up with a sequel. That'd be kind of cool.
I've
I
been
doubt
thinking.
it because what's that?
I said I've been trying to come up with one myself. I'm like, how would they make a sequel? Like, if the you can't have the characters come back because they've already survived their ordeal, and it'd be really forced to try to get them back in the movie.
Or you could do like they say in the beginning, when the storm hits, you get the family involved in the gator farm, and they make that into a whole movie length, and then it
Or
will lead into the girl going to get her father, like a prequel.
okay, or it could be yeah, or we could have the hurricane still going on, and then the mother and the father at the hospital, and the hospital gets flooded, and then the gators come into the hospital.
Oh God! Oh no, not again!
Yeah. Oh, that'd be funny. Yeah, there's several directions you could go, and this film actually did pretty well at the box office. Maybe like 90 something million, which is about as much as Piranha made, if I remember correctly. Which Piranha cost like I don't know $10 million more or whatever, but still, this is turned a nice profit. I think the positive reviews helped. It's kind of like Ready or Not. No one was going to go see that film, but everyone's like, it's an awesome film, and it made a lot of money for what it was. But I would definitely recommend you not crawl to go see this movie. Go run. Puns. I'm sorry. So thank you all for watching, and Lion Brian Gatto, the horror show host. Make sure to check out You and Your Horror Movies YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Also, make sure to like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon. The links are in the description below as well. Hit that notification bell, and as always, subscribe.